This video will be looking into algebraic processes 1, whereby the subtopic we'll be looking at is quadratic equations. So you also have graphical method, but this video is going to contain only these 4 methods of solving quadratic equation. Again, I said factorization, completing the square method, quadratic formula method, sum and product rule. So for the graphical method, it will not be in this video because of the availability of the graph board. So that is why I will not include graphical method to this video. Now the example we'll be looking at in this quadratic equation is these 2 examples on the board. Example A says 2h squared minus 5h plus 3 equals to 0. What are we asked to look for? We are asked to look for the value of h. What is h? And example B says that g squared plus 4g equals to 21. Meaning that you have to look for the value for g. What does g represent? So now let's dive into the example and let's solve it properly. Factorization method. Now let's factorize these 2 examples we have here. First example says 2h squared minus 5h plus 3 equals to 0. The first step you have to do is that when you have this equation like this, what do? You multiply these values together like that. That is multiplying 2h squared multiplied by 3 together. So if you multiply 2h squared multiplied by 3, let me put this sign multiplication here. Then you have it as 6h squared. Remember, we are factorizing now, which is the first method in solving quadratic equation. Then after the multiplication, which gives us 2h squared multiplied by 3, gives us 6h squared. Then at the back of your book, you can just have this table here, whereby you call it product and what? And sum. Meaning that you look for 2 numbers, whereby if you multiply them together, it's going to give you 6h squared. And those 2 particular numbers that you multiply together that gives you 2h squared, when you sum it up together, it will give you minus 5h. It must give you minus 5h. Now let's think of 2 numbers. Basically, the number we are going to use should be minus 3h times minus 2h. Sorry, minus 3h times minus 2h. So if I should multiply minus 3h times minus 2h, that's going to give me 6h squared, because minus times this minus gives me plus. 3 times 2 gives 6, h times h gives h squared. So if I should sum up this minus 3h minus 2h, that is going to give me minus 5h. So that means the addition of this, the summing up of this minus 3h and minus 2h gives me minus 5h. Whereby if I multiply this minus 3h multiplied by minus 2h gives me 6h squared. Now what do I do next? Writing this equation down, which is 2h squared, instead of me to write this minus 5h, then I'm going to replace it by minus 3h minus 2h. So let me write it here as minus 3h minus 2h. Instead of me writing this minus 5h, and I'll replace it with this plus 3 equals to 0. So if you have it like this, I do tell students that just give this thing bracket into 2 like this. This minus belongs to this minus 2h. So let me put it in this bracket and put it here as well. Then I'll come here. What is common between this 2h squared and what? Minus 3h. I can show that h is common because we have h here. We also have h here. So let me bring the h out. Open bracket. If you have 2h squared, look at this. 2h squared divided by this h. This 2h squared divided by this h. If this h cancel this, one of this, then we have it as what? As 2h. So let me write 2h here. And also, if you have this minus 3h, if you divide it by this h, this particular minus 3h, if you divide it by this h, which is here, this h cancel this h, then we have it as what? Minus 3. So that is that. Now, if you look at this other expression, which is minus 2h plus 3, what is common there? From here now, h is not common in these 2, 2 is not common in these 2, 3 is not common. But what is common here? It is what? It is 1. Because 1 can go in both minus 2h and 3. Now, which sign will I write out? I'm going to write the sign of negative because this minus supersedes this plus here in this expression. So this is going to be minus 1. Open bracket. If I do the same thing with what I did here by writing minus 2h all over minus 1. So if this minus cancel this minus, I'm left with what? Ordinary 2h. So 2h will be here. And if I should do the same thing with this plus 3 too, I should write plus 3 here all over minus 1. So plus divided by minus gives me minus, and 3 over 1 is 3. So I still have it here. Everything equals to 0. So now one of the principles of factorization is that these two must be the same. They must look alike, and they must be exactly the same thing. So what do? I'll bring these two values together by saying h minus 1, and I'll take one of these by saying 2h minus 3. The both are equals to 0. Then if I now split it into 2, it's actually going to be h minus 1 equals to 0, or 2h minus 3 equals to 0. This final answer as h equals to 1 or 3 over 2 as the answer. So h is representing 1 or 3 over 2 from this particular example A, using factorization method to solve it. Example 2, which is the B part. We still have the question as this, as what? G squared plus 4g equals to 21. So using the same factorization method is by what? By firstly rearranging this and equating it equals to 0. This is going to be g squared plus 4g minus 21 equals to 0. Then after that, we are still going to follow this same method we followed here in this example A. By what? We're going to multiply this and this together. If I should multiply these two together, what will it give me? Remember that this g squared has a coefficient of 1. So 1 times minus 21 still give me minus 21. G squared will be together. So if I should multiply 1g squared times minus 21, apparently it's going to be minus 21g squared. Good. Then what next? What am I going to do next? I can just come here and read this table like this, multiplication and addition. So which two numbers can I multiply together that will give me minus 21g squared? And if I should if I should add that same two numbers together, it will give me plus 4g. So looking at it, I can actually say 7 times 3 is 21. So which is going to be plus 7g times minus 3g. So if minus times plus times minus is what? That is what? Minus 7 times 3, that is 21. G times g, that is what? G squared. So it's the same thing as this. Now if I sum up these two numbers, these two values together, which is plus 7g minus 3g, and that's going to give me plus 4g, which represents this value. So what do? I will repeat the expression, the equation, as g squared. Instead of me to write plus 4g, I will replace it as plus 7g minus 3g. So I'll have it here as plus 7g minus 3g, and this minus 21 will be here equals to 0. The same way we did this one by putting two brackets there, then let's do the same thing here. Brackets here, brackets here. This minus belongs to these 3, so brackets here and also brackets here. Now looking at this value, this expression, and what is common? G is common here. Let's bring it out. Open a bracket. Coming to this place, if we have this g square here divided by this particular g we have here, this means this g square means g times g, and that is what? G square. So 1 eliminates 1, we are left is just a single g. So g will be here. This plus value is here like this. Then if I have 7g, divided by what? Divided by this g that we have outside here. So let me put this division here. If this g cancel this g, what am I left with? I'm left with what? 7. So this 7 is here. Close my bracket. Now what is common between this? What is common between this? Can I say that this has minus, this also have minus? So minus will be out here. And looking at this value, 3 can go in 3, give us 1, and 3 can also go in 21, which gives us 7. So 3 is also common in this expression. So let me bring out this 3 here and open a bracket. So if I should repeat what I did here for this 7g over g, if I should repeat it for this value here, that's going to be minus 3g divided by this minus 3. So if minus 3 cancel minus 3, I'm left with ordinary g. Then let me write my g here. And also minus 21 divided by this minus 3. Minus 21 divided by what? Minus 3. If minus cancel minus, 3 here 1, 3 here 7. So I have my, and remember that minus has already cancelled minus, so I'm left with what? Plus. So plus is going to be here, and this 7 is going to be here. Let me close the bracket. Now we have these two brackets, which they are the same thing, meaning that we are going to pick one. So now I have to combine this and this together by saying g minus 3, let me close the bracket, and also picking one from these two, which is what, g plus 7, everything equals to 0. Now I can now split it out the way I splitted this one earlier, which is going to be g minus 3 equals to 0 or g plus 7 equals to 0. Collecting my like terms, then g equals to plus 3 or g equals to minus 7. So these are the two possible values for g in this particular quadratic equation question. That is g equals to plus 3 or g equals to minus 7. The next method we are going to be using is completing the square method. So we are still going to solve these two examples using that same method, which is what? Completing the square method. Now the first example we are still going to be solving was the one we solved using factorization. So we'll be solving that same example we solved using factorization method. We're still going to use it to solve using completing the square method. Like I said earlier, we are going to get exactly the same answer. Now let's start. In solving completing the square method, the first thing you have to do is to what? The coefficient of this square, of this h square, you will divide it through like this. So which is 2. The coefficient of this h square is 2. So I will divide through by 2, 2, 2, 2. So these 2 cancel these 2. Exactly. Remember, is 0 over 2 is still 0. So we have it as h square minus 5 over 2h plus 3 over 2 equals to 0. The next step you are going to do is that you are going to allow this constant to go to this side by collecting your like terms by saying h square minus 5 over 2h equals to minus 3 over 2. Now the next thing you are going to do is that half of this coefficient of h, you know this is h, the coefficient of h is what? Minus 5 over 2. That's the coefficient of h. Half of it, we are going to square half of it, whereby you are going to add it to the both sides. Where are the side? This equal to divide this into 2. This sign equal to divide this into 2. So you will add half of this coefficient of h, square it, and add 1 to this part. Also add it to this other part as well. So the half of this minus 5 over 2 is just minus 5 over 2 times 1 over 2. So that is the half. So if we have the, if the half is minus 5 over 4, then if we square it, now we just put the square like this. So we have it as minus 5 over 4 square. Leave the expression like this. So take this whole expression, add it here. Take this whole expression, also add it here. So we have it as h square minus 5 over 2h plus minus 5 over 4 square is equals to minus 3 over 2 plus minus 5 over 4 square. Now, having this expression like this, what do we do next? Remember, this h half square, this minus 5 over 4 also half square. So bring it together, which is going to be h minus 5 over 4 all squared. If you expand it, you are going to get this h squared minus 5 over 2h plus open bracket minus 5 over 4 square. So equal to minus 3 over 2 plus the square of minus 5 is 25 and the square of 4 is 16. So let's continue by saying h minus 5 over 4 all squared equals to the LCM of this is 16 rather. The LCM of this 16 is 16, that is 8. 8 times this, that is minus 24. Plus 16 is 16, that is 1. 1 times 25 is still 25. So we now have it as h minus 5 over 4 all squared equals to minus 25 and minus 24 plus 25 is 1. And we have it as 1 over 16. So let's continue this solution here by having it as h minus 5 over 4 all squared equals to 1 over 16. So what do I do next? Then I will give the square root to the both sides. That means I will square root the both sides. Now if I should square root the both sides, this square root will eliminate this square we have here. Then I have it as h minus 5 over 4 equals to the square root of 1 over 16 is still going to be 1 over 4. We are going to include plus or minus. So when we have it as this, then I will allow this to come here by collecting my like terms, and it's going to be h equals to plus or minus 1 over 4 plus 5 over 4. You know, this is minus. When it comes there, then it's changed to plus. So if I should split this expression into two, I will have it as h equals to plus 1 over 4 plus 5 over 4, or minus 1 over 4 plus 5 over 4. So if I should solve this expression now, definitely I'll have it as h equals to, now solving this basic fraction is going to be 6 over 4, or, and this one is going to be what? 4 over 4. So 6 over 4 can be reduced to what? 3 over 2, or what? Or 1. So our h is still the same thing as 3 over 2 or 1. This is the b part using completing the square method. It is still g squared plus 4g equals to 21. Like I told you earlier, the first step was divide through by the coefficient of what? Of this g squared. And for here, the coefficient is 1. So if I divide through by 1, I still have the same thing back. It is still going to be g squared plus 4g equals to 21. So what do I do next? Is by what? You know, in my previous example, the example B, whereby when I was, example A rather, when I was using completing the square method to solve in example A, this constant was here. So I had to allow it to come to this what? This opposite side. And when it was coming to the opposite side, the sign changes. But in this case now, this value is already here. This constant is already here. So let me leave it like that. So the thing is that the half of the coefficient of this g, the coefficient of g is 4. Half of it is times 1 over 2. So if I should square this half, it's going to be half of 4 is 2. So 2 square. So this expression, I'm going to add it to this side, and also I will add it to this side. That is the next step. By saying g squared plus 4g plus the square of 2 equals to 21 plus the square of what? Of 2. So having this like that now, I have to put my square here. So having this like this, then it's going to be this half square, this also half square as well. So this is going to be, then I'll bring these two together. I'll bring this g and these two together because they both half square. That will be g plus 2 all squared. If I should expand this expression, it's going to give me this g squared plus 4g plus open bracket 2 squared, which is going to be equal to 21 plus the square of 2, that is 4. So I have it as g plus 2 all square equals to 25. So what do I do next? The next thing for me to do here is to introduce square root to the both sides by saying g plus 2 squared equals to 25. So if I introduce square root to the both side here, this square root eliminates this square. Then I have it as g plus 2 equals to the square root of 25, that is plus or minus 5. Now I will collect my like terms by allowing this minus 2 to cross over to this next junction. This is going to be g equals to plus or minus 5 minus 2. Then if I should expand, or if I should split this plus or minus 5 into 2, that will be g equals to, if I should expand this expression, it's going to be plus 5 minus 2 or minus 5 minus 2. So then my answer is going to be g will be equals to plus 5 minus 2, that is plus 3, or minus 5 minus 2, that is minus 7. Now this time around, we'll be looking into another method of solving this quadratic equation. The method we'll be looking at is quadratic formula method. So we are still going to solve the example we solved for factorization, we solved for completing the square method. We will still solve it using quadratic formula method. Now the quadratic formula method is x equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now look at this formula. You'll be wondering that, where did I bring this formula from? Where is it coming from? Why does this formula just jump here and enter the board here? It's not like that. This formula is derived from this expression ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now this expression, it is where the formula, it is where the quadratic formula is being derived from. So this ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. If you solve it using completing the square method, we are going to get this particular quadratic formula. So you can just pause this video and give it a try. Pause this video for a while and try it. Solve this expression ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0 using completing the square method. You will see that your final answer is going to be this particular formula. But now this x is the unknown we have here, but remember that the unknown we have here is age. So if I were you, I would rather clean this x and name it age. Now that is it. Now what does b, a and c represent? A represents the coefficient of h squared, which is 2. B represents the coefficient, this b here, anywhere you see b here, represents the coefficient of what? Of h, which is what? Minus 5. And c represents this constant, which is what? Plus 3. So what do? Then we are going to insert all these values, we are going to substitute all these values into this formula, which is going to be h equals to minus, b is what? Minus 5, right? Let me bracket it. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, that is minus 5 squared, minus 4. A is what? A is 2, and then c is what? 3. Everything all over 2a, whereby a is what? A is 2. Now let's solve this complete. So h is going to be, this time this is what? Plus 5, because minus times minus is 5, that's plus 5. Plus or minus the square root of minus 5 squared is 25, minus 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Everything all over 2 times 2 here, which is what? 4. So we then have it as h equals to 5 plus or minus the square root of what? 25 minus 24 is 1. Everything over what? Over 4. So if I should come here, then this is going to be h equals to 5 plus or minus the square root of 1, everything over what? Over 4. So I can now have it as h equals to 5 plus or minus the square root of 1 is 1. Yes, all over 4. So if I should split it into 2, that will be h equals to 5 plus 1 over 4 or 5 minus 1 over 4. So that is going to be h will be equals to 5 plus 1 is 6. That will be 6 over 4, or that will be what? 4 over 4. And that is going to give us 3 over 2 or 1. Because 6 over 4, if you reduce 6 over 4, that will give you 3 over 2. If you divide or reduce 4 over 4, that will give you 1. This is the example B, which says g squared plus 4g equals to 21. Now, let's start with the formula by writing the formula down. The formula is g equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now what are these values for a, b, and c? A equals to 1 because of the coefficient of this g squared. B equals to 4 because of this because of the coefficient of g. While c equals to minus 21. Yes, minus 21. Simply because this minus 21 is going to come to this side, to this side, to this side, which is whereby the sign plus going to change to minus equals to 0. Something like this. Something like g squared plus 4g minus 21 equals to 0. So let's substitute this value into this formula, which is going to be g equals to minus b plus, our b is already 4. So let me just clean it and replace this b with 4 minus 4 plus or minus the square root of what? 4 squared minus 4 bracket a is what? 1 and c is what? Minus 21. Everything over 2a, whereby a is 1. So after substituting those parameters into that quadratic formula, then I have it next as g equals to minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared is 16. Everybody knows that. Minus times minus. This minus here multiplied by this minus here gives us plus. 4 times 1 times 21. 4 times 1 is 4. Then 4 times 21. That's going to be 84. 84, everything over 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. So then I have it as g equals to minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 84. That is what? 100. Yes, 16 plus 84 is 100. Good. So we have it as 100 everything over 2. Now, it's not going to be g equals to minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 100 is what? Is 10. 10 all over everything over 2. So if I should split this into 2, then g will be equals to minus 4 plus 10 over 2, or minus 4 minus 10 over 2. So finally, my g will be equals to minus 4 plus 10, that is what? Plus 6 over 2, or this is minus 14 over 2, and that is going to give me plus 3 or minus 7. So the value for our g in this example B is still plus 3 or minus 7 using quadratic formula method. Let's look at sum roots and product roots. So what does sum root actually mean? Sum root simply means the sum of these roots. I mean, the root is the answer of what we got in this particular question. When we're using factorization method, completing the square method, formula method, the answer we got for this example A is what we call roots. So when we, and I think the answer is h equals to 1 or 3 over 2. That was what we got earlier. And we got for this one as h equals to 7 minus 7 or plus 3. So that was the answer we got when we use completing the square method, factorization, and what? And use of quadratic formula. Now we are now in sum root and product root. Sum root basically means sum of the roots, sum of these two answers, the sum of these two answers. While product root means the multiplication of these two answers we got here for the value of age. And it is represented as alpha plus beta for sum root. Sum root means alpha plus beta, which is equals to minus b over a. Whereby the product root alpha beta, like this alpha times beta, which is what? C over what? Over a. So now, how do we now get the sum and the product of this root for this example A? Is by going to this, is by following these steps, by saying 2h squared minus 5h plus 3 equals to 0. Divide through by the coefficient of h squared, which is what? 2, 2, 2. 2 cancel 2. So we are left with h squared minus 5 over 2h plus 3 over 2 equals to what? Equals to 0. And finally, we say h squared minus 5 over 2h equals to minus 3 over 2. I hope you remember this by collecting like terms, whereby this constant is going to come over to this side. And this plus sign will change to minus. Now, this value here, I mean the coefficient of h, which is what? Minus 5 over 2, is the sum of the root. Is the sum of the root, which is alpha plus beta, which is what? 5 over 2. How do I get the 5 over 2? I got the 5 over 2 by multiplying this minus times this particular minus we have here. So if we multiply this minus we have here times this minus we have here, then it's going to give you plus. That was why the sum of alpha plus beta is giving us 5 over 2. And if you add 1 plus 3 over 2 together, what will you get? You get 5 over 2. You can try that, pause this video and try that by adding 1 plus 3 over 2 together for the value of h. This value, 1 plus 3 over 2. Add it together, you will see that you're going to get 5 over 2. Initially, it's supposed to be minus 5 over 2, though, but you have to multiply this minus times what? Times this minus that we have here. In case if you have plus here, if this value here is plus, you will still multiply this plus times this minus we have here. So therefore, that one, your answer might be minus something. So why alpha beta alpha beta. Alpha beta is this value, 3 minus 3 over 2 minus 3 over 2. That is the multiplication of alpha and what? And beta. So alpha and beta here is what? 3 over what? 3 over 2. It's like as if you are saying 3 over 2 times 1, and that will still give you what? 3 over 2. So if you pick it from here, you are getting 3 over 2. But if you allow it to come to this side, if you pick it from here, you are getting minus 3 over 2. So basically, that's what we refer to as the sum, how to get or how to determine the sum of the roots. Now for the B part, remember that our answer for the B part is what? 3 or minus 7. G equals to 3 or minus 7. And that is the root of that equation 2, which is our example B. So the alpha plus beta, which is what? This is beta, which is what? Minus B over A. Whereby alpha beta or alpha times beta is what? C over A. So now from this expression, you know that if I should divide through by the what? By the coefficient of G square, which is 1, it will still remain 1. Hope you know that. So therefore, my alpha from this equation, G square plus 4G equals to 21. So my alpha plus beta will still be this 4. Will still be this 4. But remember that you are going to multiply this, this your answer, times this minus you have here. So it's going to give you minus 4. So alpha plus beta is what? Minus 4. I got this 4 from here. Then I multiply this sign, minus, times this particular sign we have here. Then it's giving me minus 4. And remember, if you add 3 minus 7, what will you get? You get minus 4. Now, looking at alpha beta, that is alpha times beta. So alpha times beta, that one will be equals to the multiplication of your answer, of your roots. So that one is going to be, if you allow this to come to this side, like if you allow this 21 to come here, it's going to change to what? Change to minus 21. So you're going to pick our answer from here, which is what? Minus 21. By allowing this 21 to come to this side, whereby the sign plus, the plus which is here is going to change to minus when it comes to this place here. Something like this. G square plus 4G minus 21 equals to 0. So our answer for alpha beta is what? Minus 21. And if you multiply this root 3 and minus 7 together, if you multiply them together, you are going to get minus 21. This 3 is actually standing as our alpha, whereby this 7 is standing as our beta. Let's cross check. This is what we call cross checking. Let's cross check. This is our root or our answer we got. Let's reverse it back to the equation we were given. So this h equals to 1 or h equals to 3 over 2. So if I have it as h equals to 1, or if I cross multiply this, I have it as 2h equals to 3 if you cross multiply. So if I rearrange this, I have it as h minus 1 equals to 0, or 2h minus 3 equals to 0. So what do? I will multiply these two things together. I will multiply h minus 1 with what? 2h minus 3. So let me bracket it. So if I put it into bracket, then that will be h minus 1 multiplied by 2h minus 3. They are both equals to 0. So let me multiply. H in bracket 2h minus 3 minus 1 bracket 2h minus 3 equals to 0. So now multiplying h with this value here and multiplying minus 1 with this value here, then that will be 2h square minus h times 3 is what? 3h minus 1 times 2h, that gives minus 2h, minus 1 times minus 3, that gives plus 3 equals to 0. And solving this completely, then that will be 2h square minus 3h minus 2h, that gives me minus 5h plus 3 equals to 0. You can actually see that this was the equation we were given earlier. Now let's do for B part as well. Now for the B part, now we have it as G equals to 3 or G equals to minus 7. So after having it as g equals to 3 or g equals to minus 7, what do we do next? So what we are going to do next is that we are going to say g minus 3 equals to 0 or g plus 7 equals to 0. I only rearrange it because this minus 7, when it comes here, it changes to plus 7 equals to 0. And when this plus 3 goes over to this place, it changes to minus 3. Then I will multiply the both together, multiplying here and here together. I'll multiply g minus 3 multiplied by what? G plus 7. They are both equals to 0. Now, multiplying them together is going to be g open bracket g plus 7 close the bracket minus 3 open bracket g plus 7. They are both equals to 0. Now, let's continue. G times g, that is what? G square. G times 7, that is plus 7g. Minus 3 times g, that is minus 3g. Minus 3 times plus 7, that is minus 21 equals to 0. So I can now have it as g squared plus 7g minus 3g, that is plus 4g plus 4g minus 21 equals to 0. So I can rearrange it to exactly the way they gave me the question at the beginning, which is going to be g squared plus 4g equals to, when this one comes to this side, it becomes plus 21. It is correct. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you really enjoyed this video, kindly click on the subscription button, like this video and share this video. Thank you so much. Bye.